and both if both parties can, or one party can afford or not. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have to. It's never been about the money. Most of us just want you to spend time with your child. Do what you got to do and spend time with your child. That's the most important thing. I don't care how much money you make because money don't fade me. I have my own. What I want you to do is spend time with your child because, see, this is our legacy. And if you don't spend time with them, like a male child, I can't teach my son to be a man. I can teach him to be a good person, but his father had to teach him to be a man. You know, the most important thing, what I'm saying, is spend time with them. I move now. I don't believe in having to get permission to move across the country or to better myself. If we're not together, you shouldn't be able to hold me back in like say California, where the rent is $50,000 a month, and I can't find a job that pays that much. I should be able to leave that state and go where I can make some money to take care of the said child.
Well, let's look at it like this, right? Um, let's go with the state of Virginia, right? What is, let me see, what percentage is taken from a man's check and VA for child support? I think it's like 40%.
And I don't think it's just men. I think child support, because both men and women are paying child support in 2023.
But most men don't. No, most men don't. It's like a it's a very low percentage of men that will actually take their the mom to court for child support. Um, yeah, it's 40% in Virginia. So right, it's like this, right? Let's say a dude's working a regular job, and he makes $1,000, right? Let's say he makes $1,000 every week, right?
Hmm.
Makes $1,000 every week. That means he takes home $600, right?
I'm
That,
tracking.
no, a little bit less than that, right?
If he's making $1,000 a week, what are the taxes like out there in
No, I'm
Virginia?
talking about it's 40% in VA.
Is it 40% before or after taxes though?
I don't think they even equivalent that. Well, like I'm just gonna say even 30% of somebody's check, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
40%, right? The person makes $1,000. Most of his money is gonna be going to child support, right?
Okay.
That he makes. Then he doesn't even have enough money to realistically pay for bills, to pay for food, to car note, to really do anything, right?
Okay, let me ask you this though. That same money that he's sending, because men love to say, well, they should have receipts and all that. Well, you bring the receipts and the mother pays more than what you send. Then what? Does his child support go up at that point?
It depends because I've been in the situation. This is where I don't think it is. Like I said, I was a stay at home dad. I've been in that situation. For a kid to be young is really not that expensive unless you're making it be that expensive. Depending on healthcare and stuff like that, like um, like we saved a lot on healthcare because my mom watched my daughter. That's the most expense really that people have to spend is healthcare. I mean,
Child care.
childcare.
Mm.
That's the biggest thing. Or formula, unless the woman's breastfeeding. If she's breastfeeding, what is she doing? She's pumping every day. She's having a bunch of bottles pumped. She's putting them in the refrigerator or the freezer to freeze them. They're getting put out, and that's that. right? Baby food is not that expensive. It's even
Mhm.
better. Like I did was make my own baby food. You get the little baby musher, you get the vegetables and everything from the grocery
Mhm.
store, which is mad cheap, and you make it yourself. You add a little bit of salt and everything, and you do it like that. And when babies are really young, they're only allowed to eat like one thing at a time. So they can't even eat three. They can't even eat three things in a meal. You have to feed them like all gummy, like no, I was gonna say gummy bears, all green beans, because you don't know what they're allergic to. So um, there's a lot of things that aren't that. And then with diapers, it's the same thing. Um, Raising a newborn is expensive. If it's cheap, then that sounds like neglect. What do you like? Tell me, Miss Abdul, what are you spending? What do you think that's so expensive for a newborn? And
Uh,
this is a
Pampers and
question.
formula. It's 2023 and nobody's washing diapers in the toilet anymore, and
I
nobody's
get it.
got time to sit up and make baby food. We got things to do because most people have to have a two income household to survive in 2023. Now
And
you're lucky, you know what I'm saying, but
and
your
I think
situation is not indicative of everybody else's.
I agree, and I think that those people shouldn't have kids. A lot of people are having kids, but they're not actually ready to have kids, and then they're making it seem like they were bad. It's like if how do you expect a guy who wasn't making but $1,000 a week to have a kid and then all of a sudden start making all this money?
Well, see, to me, if he couldn't make the money, he should have been out there screwing around in the first place. Wrap it up.
Look, how am I making men look good? I've raised three kids, three daughters. I take care of my kids. I've been in very bad situations with abusive women. Never did anything. Just like the situation I talked about earlier, where my daughter was taken away from me while I was paying child support, paid child support all the time, and then fought and paid a bunch of money to get back in my daughter's life. And I never ever talked bad about her mom out my name like she did me. It's not the point that I'm trying to make. Fathers don't need to do better. Mothers need to do better. What about all the mothers that? Let's look at.
People, parents need to do better because let me tell you something. I am a firm believer in, and I live this. I don't have to say nothing negative about the children's father because at some point they will get old enough and form their own opinion. That's not my job. My job is, look, that's the biggest problem with a lot of these people. They worry so much about what the absent parent is doing, they're not taking care of their business at home. If you spend 6 hours out of your day fussing about what the other parent is not doing, you done took 6 hours away from raising that child, installing some kind of manners and home training into this child. See, I never made time for that kind of shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? Look, my job is to raise these children. When you get ready to come back into life or whatever you got, you're the one got the answer to them. See, after a certain age, my conversation was always, it is no longer my responsibility to facilitate a relationship between you and your child. You want to see your child, you go see them. They're old enough, you can call them. I don't have nothing to say with it. The door is always open. Period. You know, time is short. You got so little time to raise these kids and get them together. Why waste time on what
Moms,
the other parents not
moms don't
doing?
have the luxury of just saying, trying these kids need to eat, period, make it happen. What are you talking about? So you're saying Casey Anthony, a person who did something bad to
Oh my,
her, her kid,
Casey.
like man, I'll bring up I can bring up 1,000 women. I can bring up 100 women last year that did something to their kid. Just because your mom doesn't make you all of a sudden superwoman. Plenty of men do that too. If you really want to go with the stats, and I'm not even trying to say nothing, do you know where all these rapists and men that don't take care of their kids come from? Do you know who they were raised by? Single mothers.
Here we go. Here we go.
That's
Here
not
we
to
where the
say that
where's the fathers that made them single? Where are they?
most of them
Where
in the
are they?
black hold on, most of them in the black community were locked up because of mass
And that's
incarceration.
the black woman's fault, correct?
I didn't say it was the black. See, I'm not blaming it on the black woman, but the point that I'm trying to make is these people that are doing these things aren't coming from fathers that were there and raised their kids. They're coming from single mothers. The fathers that are present in their lives, kids aren't making those same mistakes. You can do it statistically. Single fathers, the
Oh
kids are
Lord.
less likely to become rapists. They're more likely to go to college and be
Oh
successful
Lord.
people and all types of things when it comes to that. So if you're looking at a single mother and a single fathers
Please,
do.
please, 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 please stop with the copy and paste. Come on. Look, at
But
the
it's
end of
true
the day,
though.
it's not true. Because if you think about it, he's actually not. He
It's
is
not
not
lying.
doing it all by himself. He's actually taking it to grandma's house or to one of the sisters' house. He is not doing it by himself. It's still a woman involved with that.
No,
Why do you
it's
say
no,
that? Because I'm a single father. Why do you say that?
it's no, it's not.
I've seen it.
Okay, so
So you
let's
telling me,
reverse
wait,
this
wait. So
then.
you saying that you're there 24 in, 24 out. You make
Yes,
everything happen. You don't have no help from nobody.
100%.
But a lot
Good
of
for
the
you.
fathers
Pat
don't.
yourself on the back. Good deal. Then you understand what a woman be going through. Is it easy?
It's a
It is the
pity.
job. It's what
Is
I
it
have to do. There's
easy?
no choice. It's not
Is it
easy or hard. It's
easy?
what has to be done.
Okay, see you full of it. Because if you're gonna tell it all. We all know that it's a hard job. I commend any man that can do it. Because it's hard as hell. And I'm a woman. And I had him. And I know it's hard as hell. I commend a man that can stand up and do it tomorrow. It's hard. It's hard. It's not an easy job. Especially trying to do it all by yourself because you don't have no help and nobody to help you do
See,
it.
I don't like say I don't think parenting is a hard job. I think when you can't relate with your kids
How
and
old is
you're
your
out of
children?
you said what?
Mine are
How old are your children?
My daughter is 19. I have an 8-year old and I have a 6-year old. It's not hard.
It is hard.
No.
You weren't involved like you say. If you telling me raising girls in 2023, what?
Yo,
Okay.
I spend time with my daughters. I know my daughters. The reason why a lot of parents are out of touch is just like the mother of my kids now. My daughters say that my 8-year old is already telling her that she hates her. She don't want to go there. She don't want to live with her mom. It's not that. It's about how you relate to your kids. Just like I relate to my 19-year-old daughter. Her mom, she don't like her mom. You feel what I'm saying? It's how you relate. It's the same reason.
Mm,
That's
mm,
another
mm,
reason why
mm,
this
mm,
statistic happens with single
mm, mm.
fathers. It's
Y'all too busy trying to be friends, and we trying
like
to
no,
enroll and
oh,
get them
can I
no.
answer
situated.
that?
My daughter
Host,
played
can I answer that?
volleyball and is in college. So and she don't and she just had her first boyfriend outside of that she's told me everything. She told me the first time her
Hmm.
friend started smoking herb because she knew I used to grow herb and was like I was gonna try it but I didn't. I have that type of relationship with her. And the point that I'm trying to make is
Hmm.
the reason why a lot of people in America think parenting is hard is because we don't really spend time. It's just work and you have your kids and it's this big thing. I don't look at it like that.
Well,
The-
you keep
Exactly.
living. You keep living. All I'm saying is that it's not as easy. Don't make it. That would. It's. I guess it's different now. Like I said, it's different. My kids are older than you are, so I mean, I guess it's different now. So yeah,
Well,
it's a
my
different
kids
time.
are 29, 26, 24, 17, 16, and 15. I
Mine
have
is
custody of all.
37 and 32. What
I
next?
I have all my. I have custody of all my kids.
Outstanding.
So when I talk about what he's talking about is exactly how I raised my kids. I raised my kids to have a connection with them so I can have and understand what they're going through and have
Hmm.
conversations versus arbitrary telling them what they have to do. That means when my kids tell me what's going on in their lives, they say, "Hey dad, this is going on. I have a boyfriend. I want to do this. I want to do that. My son asked me for advice." All these things happen because I'm not just trying to be their friend. I'm trying to be their parent and give them actual advice, not just do what I say, not what I do, which is what a lot of parents do. I'm not saying just women, but a lot of parents do the do what I say, not what I do line, and they act like that's how you raise kids.
So
Well,
let's say
again,
this
I
right
still
here.
think that it
Let me
depends
say
on
this.
the
Only
situation.
only 27% of kids are not living with their fathers. So y'all are still going off these old statistics of men not being over their lives. And if you look at statistics, each year it keeps going up to where more men are in their kids' lives.
And absolutely, you guys are doing, and I say that all the time. I am so proud of the men today because you guys are actually stepping up. But coming from somewhere where, when back in the day, they had families all over the place. So yeah,
It wasn't
absolutely,
families
I
all
say
over
that
the
all the
place.
time. The men of today are a lot better than the men back when I was coming up.
I'm sorry to cut. The reason why is because you got to think about the epidemic that happened during that time period, especially in the black community. Black men had jobs, and our jobs were really in the factories and stuff like that. During the same time period, they started outsourcing all of those jobs
Yep. Yep.
overseas, and the men lost their jobs. Then they started
Hmm.
giving foreigners grants and money to come and put up businesses in black communities, which normally were what? Liquor
Wait, wait, you
stores.
forgot one part where they moved out of the state to get jobs. They had to leave the state to go get jobs other place. You forgot that part.
What, black men?
Yeah, the Great
Yeah.
No,
Migration,
no,
the
this is
Great
not what I'm
Migration.
talking about. They weren't allowed to go down the states because most of the states that were surrounding, like Detroit, were white. They didn't give those people jobs. So what happens is, what did the CIA admit? They put crack cocaine on the streets. The reason why black men started doing crack cocaine, you're depressed from not being able to take care of your family. You got alcohol on every corner because these people are giving these people money to come into your community to build businesses that are destroying you. They got check cash in places, carry out, all corner stores. That's all they do. And then you take the
Hmm.
jobs
Hmm.
away. What are black men going to do to take care of their kids? They start hustling. Then what does the government do? They make crack cocaine 25 years to life, and powder cocaine is nothing. So you got the white men that couldn't take care of their family that started selling drugs, but they use powdered cocaine. They don't ever go to jail. But then the black guy who's doing the same thing that gets caught with a less of a drug gets 25 to life. That's where you
Hmm.
see all the black men. Why do you
Hmm.
think black men are in prisons? It wasn't like those dads didn't want to be with their kids. They were taking care of their kids. They even sacrificed their own life to be with their kid, and then they get locked up.
But then who's left with him, and who is disparaged? The single parent.
It's the
It's
single
the
moms.
single parent because every time
It's
that
the
something
single
happens, that's the
moms.
first thing that's said. They come from a single parent home and the single parent that. But they forget about
No,
all the hell we went through
no,
in the
but you
80s and
have
the
to
90s.
understand that the black women too has some fault in that because if we didn't
Here we
make
go.
enough money, we weren't men. So what do? Like the David Chappelle episode where he gets that job at the fast food restaurant and he's all happy and he walks home and then he sees how much he made and they're like, man, you ain't make nothing. They steal the money from him. That's true. You don't make enough working at the fast food restaurant to take care of you, your family, and stuff like that. It's impossible. So what happens? They say, hey, if you want food stamps and stuff, your man can't live in the house. So that forced black women to make the men not live in the house so they
Are
can
are
get
you
food
kidding
stamps.
me? Are
Yo,
you
yo,
know
Yo, what's up, Sleep
doggone
Monkey?
well there was
It wasn't every.
plenty of men
Yo, what's
staying
up,
up in the
Sleep Monkey?
house, even if they did
It
tell
wasn't
them that.
every.
Section 8 and them housing authority is
It was.
full of men up in there.
yo, yo,
Full of men. Even in
It's true
2023,
too.
it's
That's
full of men
also
up in
where a
the
lot of
Section 8
SA
They
comes
houses.
usually
from
ain't the
as well
daddies though.
because
They
like
usually ain't the dads.
who is
Beg your pardon?
like
They usually ain't the
biological.
dads though.
Listen, biological dads were not essaying their girls. It
yo,
usually
yo,
where a lot of SA comes from as well. It wasn't a lot. It was usually the boyfriend. It wasn't a lot. It was usually the
Surely you.
boyfriend. Listen, biological dads were not essaying their girls.
yo, I'm gonna
Oh
tell you
my
guys
Usually,
all
God.
this. I'm gonna tell you guys all this
it
now.
wasn't a lot. It was usually
Oh
the
good
boyfriend.
Lord. Oh good Lord. That kind of shenanigans.
Yeah,
I disagree with you on that. I definitely.
no,
The
he's
In
talking to
FBI
me,
statistics
right?
back
2023,
that up though.
I think it was just men and quite a
He's talking to
few
me, right?
brothers, uncles, daddies, and are guilty of doing that to them to their own children.
Lane.
Yeah,
Lady,
no, he's talking to me, right?
Yeah,
I
hold on.
don't
I'm
know.
gonna tell you guys all this now. My dad and my mom aren't together, and like directly what Lane said, I have a good like relationship with both of them. Like I tell my dad and mom stuff, but
And
my
I don't
dad's the
think
one that
that
mainly
moms are
takes care
bad,
of
but
more
I
than my
think it
mom.
comes to a certain point where it's like, I
That's the
think
thing. Like
I think they play two. I think they play two
dad's
different
habits
roles.
actually take
I
care of the
think a
children.
woman. at a certain point is really good for the first developmental stages of the kid when they're a baby and you're trying to be emotional and they're taking care of them, especially breastfeeding and all that. And then once a kid becomes 13 and 14 and they start getting grown, the dad needs to be there to put some discipline in them so they're afraid to get in trouble and they learn certain things in real life.
nurturing. Mm.
And then once a kid becomes 13 and 14 and they start getting grown, the dad needs to be there to put some discipline in them so they're afraid to get in trouble and they learn certain things
Exactly
in
what happened to me right now.
real life.
Well,
There's another
I
thing
don't know
though that
about that.
happens. You have a like I see this a lot. Where once a divorce happens, mothers will talk hella trash about the fathers.
That's
Like
actually very true.
that is, I've seen this over and over again, where it doesn't matter what the dude did, good or bad, the mother will talk just complete trash about the dad. He's garbage. He did this and everything, and they place all that emotion about why they broke up, why they divorced, and they make the kid be involved in that conflict, and that is a serious problem in the community going on right now.
I can agree with you on that, to be honest with you.
Again, there is quite a few. We talked about that earlier. There's quite a few women that and men that do
But
that also. We've seen both of them, but I've seen a lot of women do it. All
Yeah.
of us don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I
No,
said
not
earlier,
all.
I'm a firm believer, and I don't. You know what? I'm a firm believer in. I don't have to tell you nothing about him. Be around him
You
yourself. You'll see. You'll form your own opinion.
you
But
are
I'm
the
a firm
exception to the
believer in
rule.
telling the child, regardless of what your father does or whatever, you're gonna be respectful because I didn't raise mine to be disrespectful.
You are
That's still your father.
honestly, you are the exception in that. Straight truth. You
I
are
don't
the
think so because a
exception,
lot of women
not
my
the rule.
age that I know are like that. So I mean,
Because
I
I
think it
know
just depends.
I work as a teacher. I'm around that constantly, not with just not my own kids. I'm around that constantly, and
Mm.
the kids constantly say, because they're not living with their dads, they usually live with the moms. Moms are dogging these dads out for whatever, for lack of child support. They ain't shit. They ain't nothing. They garbage. They this. They that. And then they wonder why they have issues with their kids when you're dogging the kid's father out constantly,
Hmm.
and then don't realize the long term repercussions of that action
Okay, well, you can't say
on
that
that
every
kid's psyche.
woman.
Yeah, and when some people,
That's
when
what
they're
I'm
in
talking.
pain, they lash out and they don't care who's around to hear it. The mother's in pain. Is she right or wrong?
She
I
wrong.
don't think that everything a child need to know everything. Everybody should have their own lane. You know what I'm
That's what
saying?
I'm
For
talking.
years, my daughter used to say, when my daughter got grown, she said, "Ma, I thought you was gay." I said, "Why did she could never saw a man when me and her father split? There was no man in my house
And
because
I've
I
seen
didn't
so
believe that a
many. I
man need
know
to be
so
around my
many
daughter,
girls.
and he's not her father." You
Again,
know.
And
again
that's
that
what
makes you the
happens
exception. Think
when
about how
that's what
many
I was
times that
saying. What
does
happens
not happen.
earlier.
Well,
I've
that
talked to
happens with
so many
men
women
or
that it
women.
was not their dad that
They're
did it. It was the
nowadays there's
stepdad or the
they
boyfriend
they
that
bring in a
started
dude
doing
real
stuff.
quick,
And then when the
Mm-mm.
girl
real
goes and
quick.
tells her mom, the mom gets mad and jealous, and then it puts this big rift. And that happened. I've seen so many black women testify to that. Started doing stuff, and then when
Mm.
the girl goes and tells her mom, the mom gets mad and jealous, and then it puts this big rift, and that happened. I've seen so many black women testify to that.
But
Yeah.
again, I think it depends on again the age group of that because you got to remember back in the '60s and the '70s, the fathers were there, and
Well,
so there was a whole lot of carrying on back then.
well, right now in the current environment we talking about,
Right,
most of
that's
that
right,
that's
right.
going on is done by when
Hmm.
after you get split up, because most of the divorce is set by women. They
No,
split up, and then what
most of
they
them are
bring in
not.
after the fact,
There go the nonsense. Did you say most
that's the
It
divorce?
fact
I
is
mean,
though.
because
yeah,
it's no
divorces
risk in
do
a
happen,
woman. A
but
woman,
let's
yeah, of
not act
course,
like there's
no
not a
man's
reason
gonna
for the
do that. Men
divorces.
aren't.
Now,
That's why, like,
let's not act because
what is it?
nobody just wakes up to
90%
say,
of
"Oh, I
all
just want a
divorces
divorce today
about
because I
women
have nothing
are
better to
initiated
do."
by women.
No, you did.
It's like 80% is a high number. Why is that? Because they got nothing to lose. They know that if they get divorced, they're getting a house, probably the car. They're getting child support. They're getting alimony. Men will
It's
go
like
through.
80.
Men
It's like
will.
80 something.
80% is a high number. Why is
Yeah.
that? Because they got nothing to lose. They know that if they get divorced, they're getting the house, probably the car. They're getting child support. They're getting alimony.
Oh my!
Men will
But
go
you,
through.
there has to be a
Some
reason.
women's. Oh, some
Let me tell
women's.
you something.
Oh,
Most times,
guess
I
what?
just refuse to believe that people are well, maybe the younger generation, but most people aren't just getting divorced because we don't like each other anymore.
Some
Something
women's get.
happened.
Oh,
You know
Let
what
me
I'm
answer
saying?
that. I got a prime example of how that happened. My divorce happened because my wife, my ex-wife, said she wasn't happy, and after we got divorced, this was the line she gave me, and this is what I hear from a lot of different people. It goes with, I thought I can, and the belief that there's something better on the grass is greener somewhere else. She went to, I thought I can find another man because all the man jumping in her DM, she thought the next one would come just
Yeah.
like that. And the next one that came was straight garbage, but she kept him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is over and over again what is happening. Women go, I'm not happy. I want something more. They're not unwilling to work on whatever the issues were and make something work. They're quick to run thinking it's easy and then it bites them in the
Yeah, but
butt. And they are
it is.
usually unwilling to admit the mistake. Men do it too, though. I ain't gonna say it's all
I
women.
was gonna say
Men make
because
that
you know,
mistake too.
dog.
So
It is,
That's
but
how the
so
see,
men get their
when a
little
guy
messages and
does
they
that,
side
it's
chicks
typically
yeah.
hold on,
and
just
So
say
listen.
things
It's
like, "Well, you
typically
don't want to
he's not
break up the
happy with his
family. You should
wife,
have been
and he's
thinking
probably
about
said
the
some
family
things,
when you
and
was
it's
getting around
and
with your
she
side
still
piece."
hasn't fixed it, and he doesn't feel this. He's not in the same position as she is, where he can be like, "I'm getting a divorce," because when he does that, what's gonna happen? She's gonna take all this stuff anyway, and all this. So he tries to stay in the relationship and kind of maneuvers and tries to have his good life and hopes she doesn't find out because that's where he is now. Because he knows that he's gonna lose his kids and all this stuff. Tries to stay in the relationship and kind of maneuvers and tries to have his good life and hopes she doesn't find out because that's where he is now.
Let me tell you
Because he
something.
knows that he's gonna lose
I,
his
wow.
kids and all
see
this
that
stuff.
shenanigan right there is why HIV is so high in the black community right now. I got a friend girl
All right,
literally
wait. Let
last
me
week
ask you
just
this: Is
found
she
out her
having?
husband
Was
gave
she
her
having sex
HIV.
with him? Let me ask you this: Is she
Literally
Damn,
having?
bitch,
Was she
out
that's
there
having
fucked up.
sex with
cheating.
him?
Out there cheating. Let me tell you, if you gonna get out there cheating,
I
leave.
guess I mean
Leave.
every kid. Let me ask you this: Is she having? Was she having sex with him? Do you?
Of
Do
course
you?
she was.
Do you?
Of course
Yeah.
she was. But see, he says now that he's an addict.
Well, that's just
Because
some
she could have been
that's
like,
some
we
BS.
don't have.
I
No,
ain't
it
I
wasn't
ain't gonna
the.
defend that shit.
No, it wasn't
I
the
ain't gonna defend that shit.
HIV.
But see,
It
at the
was
end of the
the
day,
whole
he was
fact of
because you
like
when you
maybe
asked that question, it was like
her
you was
and
looking
him
for a
haven't had
reason
sex
why
in
it was
forever, and
okay
then
that
he
he gave
started
her
going out and
HIV.
having sex,
If
No,
you're
and
gonna
then
get out
he
there
ends up
and
getting.
cheat,
No, it
why
wasn't
not
the
wrap it up?
No, it wasn't the HIV. It was the whole fact of like maybe her and him haven't had sex in forever, and then he started going out and having sex, and
And
then
so then, would you feel the
it
same way? Would you
depends
be
on
okay with it
if
if she
I
felt
mean
this,
the
if
same
she
thing
did
with
that? Because
men.
you
If
got to
you stay
remember,
healthy,
as male
it
people get
depends
older,
on
that
if she
prostate start
came
tripping.
to
So would
me
you be okay
and
with your
talk
woman
with
going
me
out
about
finding her
it,
something? Because you know, as women get
right?
older, our
So
sex
it's like
drive
with
goes up.
happens with some men that have talked about this. They tell their wife, "I'm trying to have sex," and she's like, "I'm not in the mood. I just don't want you no more. I'm over it." And they'll just be that way for a long period of time. So after they do that for a certain period of time, men will just be like, "F it. I'm not gonna keep asking and getting denied." So then that's the point when that's the time he goes out and he cheats and he shot and he doesn't he's not falling. Hold on, but no, but I'll just listen. But most men don't fall in love. They just cheat just to get he cheats just to get his nut off.
He
What,
cheats.
When the woman
yeah,
cheats,
what you
she's
don't
in
understand.
love with the
Would you
man now,
understand?
ready
Would
to
you have
leave
the
him,
same
and
understanding if
it's an
that was a woman?
emotional thing. It's completely different.
There goes the
He
excuse.
cheats just to get his nut off.
No.
When the woman cheats, she's in love with the man now, ready to leave him, and it's an emotional thing. It's completely different.
And that's an excuse. You do know that, right? That's an excuse because anytime you betray or break your vows, no matter what's going on in sickness and in health, is what you promised. And then you
So
break
when
your vows, and then here come the excuses.
So wait a second. So when a woman withholds the physical side of marriage, that's not breaking a vow?
If she withholding just because she's withholding it, is she sick? Is there something wrong?
No, I'm sorry, just withholding. And this happens a lot. Women go, I ain't getting you
You
nothing.
know
They
what
mad, they
happens a
upset.
lot? You know what happens a lot is men forget what intimacy is. You done fucked with her and terrorized her all day and think that when you get into bed it's okay. You should be able to pat and get on top. Get your ass over. You done pissed me off all day. You ain't finna climb up on me.
All right. So again, this is lack of communication between men and women in marriages. I'm gonna leave it at that with that
Yeah,
mess.
yeah. Absolutely. But see, here's the thing. I am a victim. I was married. But here's the thing. I was also deployed 3 times. You know what I'm saying? I told my husband before I left, I said, look, keep your garbage in the street. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I said, look, keep your
I
garbage
mean,
in the street. Wrap it up, is what I told him. Well, 2 years later, and $46,000 out of my bank account, there's a 2-year-old child.
Mm,
That tells
okay.
me DNA told me that he did not protect me. And
No,
I
you didn't.
left him that next day
No, you got a right
because
to do that. I can't fault you on that.
I warned him when we got married. 2 things I'm not going to deal with is cheating and putting your hands on me. You can do anything else, but cheating and putting your hands on me is a no-go.
Can't fault
A
you on that.
no-go.
Everybody got their rules.
You know,
But
I
when it
can deal
comes
with just
to
I
about
think the
anything, but
issue
those
that
two
we're
things,
talking
and
about
you know,
is
of course, you have to
women still
reevaluate.
have a
If I was
way
deployed three
to
times,
get
and I'm in
back
18
at
months each
men,
time, so I mean, I
no
don't
matter
expect him to
what.
be,
Like if he
a
cheats and
saint.
does all this stuff, you
now, here's
still
my
have the
question on the
court
topic,
system
though.
to back you up. Men don't have that, and that's the issue that we're talking about.
No matter what, like if he cheats and does all this stuff, you still have the court system to back you up. Men don't have that,
True.
and that's
They
the
they don't now. They don't now, but in the 70s and the 60s and stuff, a man literally, because you know, a woman didn't have her own bank account, credit card, that sort of thing. He literally could put her out the house, take the kids, and bring another woman in the house.
Yeah, back then, yeah, you're right. In the
Yeah,
50s and
he did
60s,
that.
yeah, you're
That was
right.
like that for decades,
Yeah,
decades and centuries.
but that's not now, though.
Women only been doing this in the last what? Since the
20
70s,
years,
80s. You
30
know?
years.
Yeah. So I mean,
Well, here's my question on the topic, though.
But
Is ain't no if you can't if your wife, your ex-wife is stopping you or your baby mama is stopping you from visiting the kids, and they're putting a block there, you shouldn't have to pay child support.
but
Point
absolutely.
blank.
Absolutely.
If they're
Because
stopping your
the only way you
visitation,
can legally do that is you have to be able to legally do that. You can't stop somebody from seeing and you pay child support. And the
but they
way
do
the
it all the
laws I
time,
see it
though.
that's the point that I'm trying to
you guys
talk to.
actually can't
There's
because
no
I've
there's
seen it.
no
A
point
girl
there's no
dropped her
way
baby
that you
off
could
at the
ever get
at
your
the
kids.
at the
So it's
dad's
kind of
house,
like how he had
and
to
he
do.
said
He
she
got
couldn't
the
get him
kid
back.
one
She
time, and
called
then
the
at
police. The
that point
police said,
he's just
"Who
like,
has
nope, the
custody?"
kid's mine. You ain't getting it.
And she
So
he
if
took
my
that
daughter
child from
goes
her.
with the mom,
it's kind of like how he had to do. He got the kid one time, and then at that point, he's just like, "Nope, the kid's mine. You ain't getting it." So
Yeah,
if my daughter
And
goes with the
it was
mom,
just him being vindictive. It wasn't that because she was bringing him all the way to the baby, all the way to his house every weekend. He didn't have to come get the baby. She brought him, but he was mad because she wouldn't come back to him. He
well,
was being vindictive.
that's some petty shit. But like
But
with
it's a
me,
batch of petty bitches. You know that. I mean, well, you
yeah,
don't know, but it's a whole batch
yeah,
of
no,
them.
there's a whole bunch of petty ass shit. No, I had to deal with that with my ex. It's like when I got divorced, she was mad, and so she talked like my kids were telling me all this shit. Dad, she's saying this and this and this. I'm like, don't worry about it. I ain't worried about it. But when finally when they got to the point that they just stopped going to the mom's house. They just stopped. They was like, no, we ain't going
Hmm.
because they old enough now. But
Hmm. Hmm.
it's the game that women play with child support. They use the court system to punish the man, and that's what I see often. It's used to, oh, you left me, you mad, or you found somebody else, or I'm just pissed we broke up, and I'm gonna use this court system. I'm gonna use child support, all this to beat you over the head and act like. And then it's hilarious. A lot of them that use that child support system make sure they don't even use it on the kid. They use it on themselves, and they give them some lame ass excuse. Well, it's supposed to go to the household. It's supposed to this and that, and the kid still running short on things. And wait a second, wait, all the money we paying, and then y'all ain't it ain't even going to the kid.
Well, I mean, let's not act like y'all giving out money like to pay for a Benz. I mean, my child support was $65 a month, and
Well,
trust me,
that's
and
a
that
well,
was in, my child was 24, and I never went up on it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He was in college and
that's
everything.
but then that's the exception
I
because
was
look at the
paying
child support. I had
900
a
a month
when I went to
for my
court,
daughter.
I got a dude, one kid. The lady took the kid from North Carolina, brought it to Florida, filed for child support. They hit him up for eight
I
hundred
shouldn't
dollars a
have
month
been
for one
paying
kid.
no. I hold on. The thing is, I should have been paying no child
One kid.
support because I
Well, the
wanted to
cost of
see
living
my
where you live
kid,
too. I mean,
and
come on
it
now.
Florida
wasn't
ain't
like
that
I
You
bad.
couldn't
expect
see my
child
kid
support
every
rates of
single day.
Mississippi, and you live in
Now
California.
I could
No,
see
but I'm
if
talking
I
about
had a
Florida.
job
Florida ain't
where
no
I
different.
worked and
It
I
ain't that
couldn't
much
see my
different.
kid every day, then yeah, you should it should be added
my
up. But
kid,
child
and
support
it
is
wasn't
supposed to
like I
be
couldn't
there
see my
if
kid
I
every
can't
single
be
day.
there. If I'm
Now I
there,
could see if
that
I
is
had
the
a job where
support.
I worked and I
If I
couldn't see
have
my
them,
kid every day,
like if I
then yeah, you should it should be added up. But child support is supposed to be there if I can't be there. If I'm
All right,
there,
Exactly.
let me ask you
that
this:
is the
Are
support.
are
If
are
I
men
have
in
them,
the
What is
Amazon
the support?
are
If
they
you're
deadbeat
just in a
dads because they
vicinity,
don't give their kids
No,
money?
if you want your kid, if you want custody, if you want to be there half the time,
let me ask you this:
you should be able to.
Exactly. So are you saying that those dads are not
are they
supportive because they're not giving
deadbeat
out
dads
money?
because they don't give their kids money?
in the Amazon, do where would they spend money at
Exactly.
in the
So
Amazon? Are they paying
if
bills
I'm
in the
covering
Amazon?
that and they're staying with me,
So if
that's a
I
form of
so if I'm
support.
covering that
Why
and
do I
No,
need to
they're
give
I'm
her
not.
money
Then
too?
we don't live in the Amazon either. Your child still needs lights, water, gas, and food. Hello.
But
so if
your
I'm
It's
child,
like,
covering if I'm
yeah.
covering that and they're staying with me, that's a form of support. Why do I need to give her money too?
And they're staying with you.
if they
They're,
say
they're
half and
staying with
half,
you. We paying half and half. Got it.
if,
Then that's fine. Because then you're supporting the child too. At that
exa-
point, if you
but what?
get if you pay, but wait a minute now. If the child is staying with you, if the child y'all split custody 50-50,
Whoever needs to pay
which
for it.
means that somebody has come up with child care and things like that, right? Who's supplying child support or child care? You both supplying child care. You both paying child care
Whoever needs
because
to pay for it. Whoever, if you have the child with you and you need childcare, that's your responsibility. If I have the child with me and I don't need childcare, that's not my responsibility then. That's yours.
that's ridiculous. Because think about this: when are you going to get the child on the weekend?
No, I have the child. No, no, no. This is how it works in the state of Florida. This is how it works now. They just changed the law. Before the law was basically the mother got the kid automatically, unless you went to court like I did and fought for paid umpteen thousands of dollars to get to fix that. Usually in the state, but up until recently, the state of Florida, the kid almost always went to the mother. Up until recently, they just changed the law that it is now in the kid's best interest to be at both houses equal amount of time. And if that's the case, there should be no child support. If I'm willing to be there half the time, then the time they're with me, if I get them 3 days a week, the other 4 days with the mom, there's
Yeah,
three and four
it's like
back and
her
forth, then there
paying
should be
you.
no child support at all. None. And if you have to get
And look,
daycare when
it's
they with you,
nobody's
that's
business.
not my
Look,
responsibility
I
because
love
when they with
music.
me, I got to take care of
No,
the
let
same
me ask you.
responsibility.
And so you're going to have a whole separate place where you take the child care.
I don't. Well, in my case, I wouldn't. I don't need child care.
No, I'm talking. I'm just asking a question. If the child is an infant
Well, at that point,
and
then
both of
you and
you
the
are at
mother should
work,
be splitting the health
you
care. If
understand what I'm
it's
saying?
two
You paying
thousand
child
dollars,
support. I mean
I
child
pay a
care.
thousand.
So
She
you're gonna
pays a
take the
thousand.
child to a whole different child care center than where the mother has.
Me, I flipped my job, so I didn't have to do that.
Well, at that point, then you and the mother should be splitting the health care. If it's $2,000, I pay a
That,
thousand.
that
She
that
pays a
that's the
thousand.
part I'm trying to talk about the child care.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. We have to come up with an agreement. If we're because I'm not gonna quit my job and stay at home when this child still needs things. It still needs to prepare for this child's college. I have to
No,
prepare for this child in Africa,
I agree with you.
hospital bills and this
No,
sort of thing. You can't just sit at
I
home.
agree. I
Sitting at
agree with
home
you.
with no one has that luxury anymore. I don't make $1 million a month. You
No, I
understand what I'm
got
saying?
you. But
I mean, cause I'm telling you, I just got a bill the other day. Two Tylenol cost me $67. But
no, the sister, but you have a point. But the thing is, though, a lot of mothers, when it comes to custody and divorce, are using it as a tool to beat the man over the head, and that's the problem. And there's not a majority. It's not a minority of them doing that. That is, you should go sit in court for one day and watch these mothers come in and bash the mess out of these fathers. No matter if
so
the
let me
dad's
ask
in
you
there, I
this:
want.
they is it what they're saying? You're saying they're bashing them, but I guess my question to you would be: is any of what they're saying a lie?
Yeah. The dude's in court going, I want to see my kid. Mother's like, no, he doesn't deserve it. And just, no, no. The dude's begging for time with his kid. Mother's, no. I want this. I want child support. I want back child support. I want alimony. And it all comes down to cash.
Mm,
That's the
mm.
punishment they want to inflict. Take the cash. I want the house. I want this. I want that. It is not about the kid. It's about, I want this because I want to punish him. And then if you ever sit in court, every woman who wants to have, I hear this argument a lot. I tell them, go sit in court and listen to the ladies and the court cases that you come through with custody and watch the dudes trying to get custody in time with their kid and the mothers fighting them left and right.
So if they're getting, are they offering 50-50 custody, or are they want all complete custody?
No, they want 50-50. They didn't argue
Mm,
for complete. They're trying to get 50-50 custody. And they were getting knocked over the head. Mother, my ex did this. I want 6,000 back child support. I want this, this, and this, and this, and this, and she's not even the exception. That's the rule. And I had to literally go, this is the paperwork you have to go by. Her lawyer, the lawyer that the state assigned her, was like, well, I think you should agree to this. I'm like, that's not I had the paperwork. I'm like, this is the rule. It was like, well, you should really agree to this. I'm like, this is the rule. And I knew the rule because my uncle's a judge. So I knew how it played out. So I didn't go in there like most dudes, not knowing how it worked.
mm.
But and most other dudes in there don't know how the law works, don't know how it breaks out, don't know what you're really supposed to go by. And then they hit them with stuff that's not even legal. You should only have to pay 40% of your income to child support. There was dudes paying 60% of their income to child support.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That right there is unnecessary. I mean, I'm like I said, we could. Look, and when it comes down for me, the child support issue was strictly about the medical insurance. Because guess what? Uh, again with the Tylenol, with the children, especially in the black community, sickle cell. You know how high those hospital bills get. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's why
And what if
you
he's
sign up
not
for
working a
stuff.
job that he got excellent insurance? I got TRICARE for life,
Oh
and
yeah, you
trust me
military like
when I
me.
say I still got that bullshit. I got to go through to
TRICARE,
jump through all kinds of hoops and stuff just to get
TRICARE has
seen.
gone to garbage, love.
Man,
TRICARE
tell
used
me,
to be good. They
yeah.
killed that mess.
Man, let me tell you something. These hospitals, they do any look. Right now, I go see a pulmonologist. I got the burn pit thing going on, so I have to I go see a pulmonologist. Well,
So
the
you want this?
pulmonologist, huh? Huh?
What percentage do they give you for the burn pit?
I was already at 100%, so I think they giving them like 10 to 20%.
Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't qualify. I was Air Force. I didn't qualify for all that.
Oh shit, y'all ain't do nothing any damn way but bark orders. Live in the best damn dorms and barracks on earth.
Were
And
you
then,
Army girl? Were you Army?
of
No, of
course,
course. You was that girl. I'm sorry, baby. I was in the AC. I'm sorry.
what the hell ever. Goddamn people. I mean, I served with Air Force, Navy, all of them when I was stationed in Korea and when I was in Taji, Iraq, that first deployment. I served with some Navy men.
Yeah.
I learned that they're not the sharpest pencils in the box. Oh, for the love of God, they're not. They're
No,
not the
no,
sharpest.
no.
What
They
What do you
not.
mean?
Because
That's
I
why
try to
everybody.
explain, you can't.
No,
Sometimes people forget that just because you got rank don't mean you're smart.
no,
But
at all.
I
It just means you
digress.
sat down longer.
Oh shit.
But no, much props to be in the military. Love you, true talk. But no, on the real, love, you are one of the few women to understand how it should be when it comes to divorce and child support. You are the exception, not
Well,
the, and
I
that's
try
the
to
scary
teach my
part.
daughter that too. But these young people, let me tell you something. As a parent, you could teach. The one thing I
That's
learned
so
after
true.
raising my children, the hardest job about raising kids is parenting kids who,
It
for the
makes
love
you
of
it
God,
make
go
you look like
find
the
children
villain.
who aren't parented and make them their best friends. So
Yeah,
now you got to
my kids
listen
do the
to,
same thing.
oh, such and such mom does this, and I got to combat this my whole life. I'm like,
No, I get my daughters bringing kids in to help me and telling me to raise the be like, Dad, they need somebody, they need some help. Dad, they need some guidance. I got my daughter, my 17-year-old does that. She be like, Dad, Dad, come on, talk to him, Dad, talk to him. I'm like, why you put me on the spot?
oh, you said that my son. He come home because I was always a firm believer in schedules. 5 o'clock is dinner, so everybody go sit at the table. We gonna eat. Well, my son seemed to bring the whole neighborhood home. There was always some extra child at my table. Well, Mama, he was hungry.
I got the
I
same
could,
thing. My
every time
kids,
I look up, I'm like, boy, I'm
somebody else
family
coming in,
scrapping it together.
coming in, grabbing sodas from the fridge.
Yeah.
They was thirsty. It was hot outside, Dad. They thirsty. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
so
I
yeah,
have children right now today who still call me mom, and they're like, we would have never made it through high school. 'Cause I'm the one that would go get them out of jail, but I also told their parents, if you don't want me to treat them like I treat mine, you need to keep them at home.
exactly. No, you
Because
good.
I believe in thumping that ass. I mean that behind. I'm not one
You
of them
good.
soft parents. I'm not. I believe in tapping that ass if you get out of pocket.
I do
You know what I'm
too.
saying?
I get people complaining. That's abuse. I'm like, go ahead, raise your kids your
Transparent.
way. My kids
That
end up
part.
good, professional careers, doing good things in their life, and they ain't in the street. So you go do your thing.
That
We'll see
part.
who kids end up better off.
That
Mine is
part. 'Cause
my oldest is a nurse. My other one, my son's in the military. My son just got, I just signed him up. He just got full disability. So he gets paid for the rest of his life.
Yep, yep, yep,
I
yep.
told him to leave the country. He was like, what should I do? I'm like, leave.
Leave the country, yes. I try to get my son to leave the
I don't
country. I
want
think
my
he went
kids to
to
leave. I'm
Fort
trying to have like a
Campbell or
big,
something like that,
like a
and we're like,
family
oh, good
compound,
Lord.
to
Yes.
where if they get
Just
married,
leave.
we all have like houses
Oh, good Lord, God,
on
that's a
like a
horrible
big
baby.
compound. We have a farm and everything that we need, like somewhere far away, and we have like dirt bikes and we raise our own cattle. You know what I mean, farm and stuff like that. And then if they get married, they have their own house with their own acres. I'll have grandpa's house with his own acres and stuff like that. And even their mom can come.
You know what I mean, farm and stuff like that. And
I
then
mean,
if they
I'll
get
rather do it
married,
outside of the country too, but I don't want my kids far away from me. I want to like, you know how most parents want their kids to leave. I would rather
That's a
be
good
able to
plan.
live
I'd
around my
rather leave the
kids like
country
my
though on the real.
entire life.
I'm done. I got two.
but I don't want my kids far away from me. I want to like,
Oh,
you know,
my
most
kids,
parents want their kids to leave.
Well,
I would rather be able to live around my kids like my entire life.
my kids can come with me.
I differ from that. I don't. My kids live 3 hours from me, and I believe as a parent, I have to allow if I'm there right up under them, then they will
They can't
not.
grow up.
Um, they won't fix their own problems. You understand? Their problems will become my problems,
Yeah, they
and then
won't
I'll
grow.
be the fixer all the time. And I think that children have to have the time and the space to be adults. You see, a lot of parents they make the mistakes of not finding a hobby, and then when they don't have a hobby, they spend all their time in their children business. You know what I'm saying, and trying to dictate to them what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And you have to trust that you raised them correctly and trust them. trust the fact that they're
Well,
gonna
that's
make
true, but
mistakes,
think about the
but you have
Queen
to
of
let
England.
them make
Think about the
mistakes.
King of,
You can't be
like the
Captain
Prince
Save a
and all
Girl their
them.
whole life because then
Like,
what happens if you drop dead?
you know,
They
the
don't know how
wealthiest
to
families,
make mistakes and
right?
fix it
That's
themselves
what
if
they
you're
do.
fixing it all the time.
And even the
At
ones
school, we
underneath
call
them,
them
they don't
helicopter
ever
parents.
leave each other. They all stay near each other. Like the family that owns Walmart,
You know, the
it's like four
wealthiest
sisters and
families,
brothers, and then the
right?
mom.
That's
They
what they
all
do.
live in the same
And
like
even the ones underneath
compound,
them, they don't ever leave each
right?
other. They all stay near
There's
each
like a
other. Like the
show that
family
someone
that
made.
owns Walmart, it's like four
No,
sisters and
they
brothers,
let their
and the
kids
mom.
like go.
They
It's not
all
like you got
live
to
in the
stay under
same
them. They're
like
allowed to go travel
they
and take
let
care
their
of their life.
kids,
But I'm
right?
saying like later on in life,
There's like a show
The
that
Sam
everybody
walked
kind of
dead
lives
though.
around each other
He been
at
gone
a
a while.
certain
they
point.
let their
Well,
kids
I
like
mean, they do it
go.
in the
You
Hispanic
gotta stay
community
up there.
too.
They're
Like
allowed
if
to go travel
you
and
go to
take care of
certain,
their life.
they
But
all
I'm
like
saying like
they don't
later
move
on
that
in
far
life,
away from each other, even in
everybody
China.
kind of lives around each other
So
at a certain point. Well, I mean, they do it in the Hispanic
hold
community
on.
too. Like if you go to certain, they all like they don't move that far away from each other, even in China.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
like I said, I'm a firm believer in letting kids be adults. I'll tell you, when I was coming up, my grandmother knew you was at such and such last night. I'm 5 hours away from where she lived. She ain't got no. How did she know I'm out there? You know, I couldn't be an adult with my grandmother. So I didn't
Well,
want to do that to my children.
Well, that's I'm the same. I go by the same rules you about. I did my job. I raised you. I gotta let you stand on your own because I have a lot of parents. They become helicopter parents, and basically
Yeah,
their kid never grows up. I got a lot of my
exactly.
friends who they got kids older than my kids still living at home. I'm
Hmm.
like, nah, no, you got to. I'm gone. I got
Hmm.
my babies. I got 2 years left before they graduate. When they graduate, I'm retired. I ain't working another day in my life. I'm done.
That part. That part. Hmm.
I'm like, look, y'all graduating, cool. When y'all graduate, here's the house keys. Take care of the house. Take care of the main house. I'll sell the
Hmm.
other houses, and
Hmm.
I'm done. I'm.
Hmm.
You can come with me. I got some houses overseas. We can party. We can chill over there. But nah,
Hmm.
I ain't doing the rat race no more. Uh-uh. Done with it.
Did you see that thing they got on